Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? We have finally come back. I think it's been a 3-year hiatus. Finally got the internet running like I needed to run. And we are back. And we will be bringing, I think, today's Wednesday, but we will be bringing back the Tuesday Dog Talk starting next Tuesday. And then, like I was just discussing with Dre, we will be also bringing Fatima. What's up? It's been 3 years. But we will
What
be
up? What up? What
bringing
up?
back. I'm also thinking about doing a Friday convo thing. Me and Dre were just kind of talking about it, where we talk dogs and everything else. There will be some a weird little rule to that engagement, which I'll bring up later. But I knew I was coming back. A lot of you guys knew I was coming back. Me and Dre. Matter of fact, I got Andre Smith of BGK here, Big Gemini Kennels. And one of the things that came up is he made a post that he was planning on cloning his dog, The Rock. A lot of us know The Rock. Now because of her breeding, I got a few, but one of the dogs I bought, Cardi Bull, Rock is in his pedigree. I think about 5 generations back in her pedigree. I got to look at it. But BGK, The Rock, very strong influence in the bully community. Well, Dre plans on Maurice. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Dre plans on cloning The Rock. So before we even get into that, what I would like to ask you, Dre, is how did you get into the bullies? And then when it came to The Rock, what made him your pick to initiate yourself into? Because that's who you started with, right?
Yeah. No, well, he was my first standout male. I started with
Gotcha.
Iron Cross Kennels, a foundation female from them.
Okay.
But what got me into bullies was I always had a love for dogs. Like even when I was younger, man, like I had dogs. Like my uncle had a Rottweiler that I used to wait till he went to work, and I would sneak and walk it all over the neighborhood like it was my
Yeah.
dog. And it
Like, yeah,
might as
he's
well
mine.
be. For real. So I mean, it's not even like, and people know me for bullies, but I like all breeds, bro. I'm just a dog lover in general, right? Like if I'm out and about, I see a dog, I like dogs, bro. That's just me. But I hadn't thought of it as a business. I had been doing a lot of things, had some money saved up, and I was sitting in San Jose at the time, bro. I had a nice little
Uh-huh.
condo, and I was chilling, and I was like, you know what? I want to take my money and invest it into something different. And the people
Okay.
around me was kind of weirded out by that. And they're like, you want to put that much money into dogs? Like, you want to do
And
dogs? Like,
hey, that don't make sense to nobody but us, dude. It
right.
don't make sense to no one but us. You can't explain it. You know what I mean?
You can't. So I figured I really wanted to do dogs, bro. And I looked online. I looked all around. Around that time, and this is going to date me, but it is what it is. Around that time, it was only Mugglestons, ICK,
Mm,
RBG didn't even have a website, I don't think. Saul was
okay.
around, but he didn't have an internet presence. ICK, Mugglestons, and then with some random ass, like there was this random ass little kennel called Padilla's Heat out of Stockton. And then that was it, bro. So I went ahead and
Right.
grabbed me a couple females. I actually grabbed a male and a female, but I ended up ICK talked me into getting their first pick female, saying, you know what, I want to keep this first pick male. If you get this first pick female, I'll let you breed to this boy right here, which was Disciple. You know what I mean?
Got you. Okay.
And when I
Exactly.
first seen Disciple, I wasn't really impressed. I seen Disciple, I was like, you know what I mean? But I didn't understand the development. I was new to the breed. I didn't know he was
Right.
going to develop
Right.
into what he was going to be. So it just kind of grew and it went up from there, man. And then Roman came across Rock himself. Roman was the founder of ICK, Iron Cross Kennels, right? So he found Rock, and then he
Okay.
was like, this dude wants $25,000 for this dog. He's like, and you probably don't have 25,000. So what you could do is I have a client called Jackson. He owns this kennel called Alabama Iron Kennels, and you and him
Got
can
you.
just go like half on the dog. If y'all go half on the dog, and he could just like keep it at his place because he's got a better facility. You just got a regular yard. He's got a whole facility. You know what I mean? And I was like,
Right.
okay. I said, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. And then I went and bought it for 25 bands and didn't say shit to him. Like just straight up bought it. Like I'm not into sharing nobody's dog. Like, bro, co-owners is the worst thing. Hey, the worst thing y'all can do is have co-owners in this business because it's going to end badly. I've never seen a co-ownership, no matter how long it lasted, end well. Somebody gets
Yeah.
pissed off and somebody leaves every single fucking time. Like that's just how the shit works. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I kind of understood that early, and I never wanted to partner with another kennel ever. Like I don't even like a lot of kennels. I don't even deal with a lot of breeders. So I mean, y'all could judge me on that. I don't. I love dogs. I don't really love people like that, bro. Like if I don't know you like that, I'm good. I already got my
Nah,
friend
I
group.
feel you. I
So
feel you. And even like I've been able to deal with, my cousin as far as doing, just a partnership with the breeding program. That's been fairly simple. But I've seen some horror stories when it comes to, the co-owns and things like that. So at that point, then you got the Rock.
yeah, I bought them.
And
Yeah.
okay. And so what was the story with that as far
When I,
as
when I first bought Rock, I was excited, and bro, like when I got them, when I imported them, I
uh
can't tell. I never seen my inbox go crazier than that. Like so many people
wow.
wanted stud fees and shit like that. I could have made the 25 bands back plus another 25 bands immediately first week like that. You know what I mean? Just from
Right,
the stud
right.
fees. If I just stood them at a 5K a pop and did 10 people, like that was easy. It was way more than 10 people.
He was already in the game, exactly.
Right. So now I realize, like, okay, I got a good commodity, but I need to slow this shit down because if I go ahead and set them out to everybody, he have a few subpar litters and everybody got that blood, then it's no longer the same value. Yeah, I made my money back and then some, but what about longevity type shit, right? So I waited and I went to Breed Rock for the first time. And when I went to Breed Rock for the first time, I took him in. I was excited as hell. I took him in with Jules, bro, my ICK Foundation bitch. When I took him in to do the breeding, he ejaculated pure blood, nothing but blood.
Oh shit.
Then I
Okay.
realized why the dude sold him. The dude sold him only because he thought that he couldn't have children naturally because he was ejaculating blood. So I was like stressed out because I just spent $25,000 for this dog, and now he's ejaculating
Hmm.
pure blood, which is the last thing you want to see, even if you spent $2. You know what I mean? So after that, I went ahead and took him into the vet, and I had to breed Jules to Escalade, which is one of the worst breedings I ever did. I know Escalade was a good producer for some people. For whatever reason, him and Jules just threw fucking dogs that all needed to be put down. Like seriously,
Wow.
that shit was
Okay.
horrible. Like out of all the breedings I ever done, I would say that's my worst breeding, bro. My first breeding. You know what I mean? So, well, that actually wasn't my first one, but my first breeding with Jules and Escalade, that was a wrap. So after I seen that, I was real concerned. Like, man, I'm gonna need Rock. I need this stud in my yard. So I took him into the vet, and the vet determined it was just a UTI. He needed antibiotics, bro.
Okay.
Like, dude just didn't take
Yeah.
care of him.
There
You
you
know what
go.
I mean? And so
Right.
took him in, and then the rest is history because his productions speak for itself. But you got to imagine that was when the XL American Bully community was in their infantile phases, bro. So there wasn't the same community like the community we see now. The way XL American Bully is common, it wasn't common then. So it was a lot easier to go viral and do different things because it just didn't exist and nobody was thinking of marketing on that level. I did it
Right.
first, and then Marlon came along and took it to the next level. And I'm sure there's gonna be somebody that does it even bigger than
Takes
both
it
of
even
us.
further.
You know what I mean? So that's the way it's supposed to go. So after I started seeing that, and we were able to introduce the breed to Europe. Cujo was the first XL American Bully to go to Europe, right? So we went out there and we did the
Okay.
first show in Europe with we did the BGK birthday bash, and my boy Raheem Simone, who's still a ABKC and EBKC judge out there. Him and his wife were actually both judges. He hosted it for us and stuff like that. So that went crazy. And then I started realizing I can sell putts for 10, 15,000 a pop. And that's where I fucked up at. And that's why I'm doing it, right? I'm saying all that for a reason. This is not a flex. I'm just trying to give you the pattern, right? When I started
Right.
realizing I could sell for 10 to 15,000, I stopped keeping first picks because I was getting 10 to
Because you
15,000 and I
started.
make another one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Because that is
yeah.
going to lead to my question later on down the line. So, I mean, we can kind of get to it. So, you got the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
We know, the productions and things that you've been able to do with him. Now, most of people watching know I break dogs down into three categories: the temperament, the ability, and then the look of the dog. And when it comes to Rock, and all of a sudden you hear about cloning, I think I started looking into it before you and I got on here, and I think the first one was done in like '95. It was a sheep or something like that, a lamb.
It was a sheep. Yep, way back in the day.
Yeah. Okay. And then what? When it comes to cloning The Rock, is that something you want to do because of what you're saying? Like, okay, this is at where I'm at in my program, and I need to get back to that again, or is it something where you're like, you know what, he was just such a dope dog, no matter what.
It's a combination. It's one, I got the money to do it. Two, I'm always curious. I'm an intellectually curious person. My dad's a fucking chemist, you know what I mean? And I've been watching carefully. Like, even when Rock was about to pass, bro, I wasn't thinking about cloning him. That was not on my plate. That wasn't on my agenda. I wasn't thinking like, oh, my dog's about to die, let me clone him. I took him in, but I didn't want to go to my regular vet, right? Because my regular vet knew him so well that it would have made it that much more emotional. And I was already crying like a baby, bro. I ain't gonna try to act tough or nothing like that.
You.
Yeah, I was balling, bro. Like, real talk. So I was already super.
Several times.
Yeah, bro. Like, I definitely was balling over my boy. So I was like, I want to go to another vet that I know that won't be as emotional about the situation. They can kind of walk me through it without me going back to the people, because they know Rock from day one. They the same ones. The same people that helped me get his UTI cleared up are the same people that took care of him I never went anywhere else.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So they know him extremely well. So I ended up going to the Canine Cryo Bank just because I knew them well, and because I go there to keep semen on deck and stuff like that. And I was like, could you help me? I want to go ahead and put him down. At this point, he wasn't able to move his rear. He had got a lot of people don't know how he died. Like, he actually died from a tick bite, bro, and he got Lyme disease. That's how he died. You know what I mean? And he lost the use of his rear limbs, so he couldn't go out to use the bathroom or anything like that. He had to like piss and shit on himself. Now I had to clean him up. You know what I mean? It's just the quality of life wasn't there. And he was already like, I think 14 and a half years old, which was pretty damn old for XL, you know what I mean, of his size, you know? So anyway, when I was taking him in, when I went into the vet, they were like, we have this new thing where we can collect the stem cells of the dog, and you can clone the dog whenever you want. And I'm not even thinking, I'm like, stem cells, I feel like they was upselling me. You know how
right. And then this is the vet bringing it up.
The vet brought it up. Yeah, I'm not thinking about that. I went there only because I didn't want to go to my regular vet, who doesn't offer that, by the way. So this is just blind luck type shit, So when I go there and they bring that up, at first I was kind of put off because I feel like they upselling me. It's like you going to McDonald's, like, you want a supersize? Like, nah, bro, I can't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, exactly. You know what I mean? So I'm like, they trying to get money out of me while I'm trying to deal with grieving. You know what I mean? But then I thought about it for a second, and my daughter was like, you should do it. Like, you really should. You should. I'm like, how much? And they said they price, and it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap. You know what I mean? But I was like, you know what? I've never been scared to spend money, bro. Like, I've never been scared to spend money when investing, and that goes outside of dogs, just in general. You got to spend money if you want to make money. You can't go get and that's one thing I see with new breeders. I'm gonna come right back to the topic, but with new breeders, they want to go get $2,000 dogs that got some famous dogs as a great granddad, and then use those two names and try to sell those $2,000 for $8,000 and wonder why people ain't dealing with. Like, you got to spend money to get the quality that you're looking for. If you're scared to spend money, you shouldn't even be in the bully community. Like, this is not for you.
Not gonna happen.
Just watch and like and comment, but don't get a dog, because a dog is a living, breathing bill. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And you got to be ready for the unexpected. They're gonna have things that you're gonna vet expenses that you don't think is coming. That's gonna blindside you. And if you really care about your animal, you're gonna make sure that they get right. But anyway, back on topic. Once they gave me the price, I was like, you know what? That's a lot. Do it. And I didn't even think about it no more. I was just like, just do it. And they collected it. They collected the stem cells, and then they put my baby boy to sleep, man. And that was that. And I was asking them, how much is the storage fees for it? Because they got the stem cells are just like semen or anything else. You have to keep it on ice, not just on ice, but in a dry freezer and all that.
Right.
The way they store semen is the same way that they had to store the stem cells and things of that nature. So I asked them how much, and they told me how much per year. and I just paid up for the first 5 years. Like I don't want no annual bill. Just like here, I don't want to think about this
So
shit.
you ain't got to worry about it. Yeah.
Right. Just make sure that the sales is good if I ever need them. And at that point,
I'm definitely not trying to have that reminder hit me once a year, especially in the first couple of years. Exactly. I feel you. I feel you.
That kind of made me think of Saul, my boy Saul, because he actually had he did it differently. He had King Lion sent to a taxidermist. So there is a King Lion actual replica, or not a replica, him as the state that they put him in through the taxidermist, but he put him in storage and he can't look at him, bro. And I get that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I completely get that. Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, I don't want to see him not moving in my living room. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
That would be kind of weird, you know,
sitting there in the corner by the lamp. That's kind of out there. So.
Hey, hold on. My boy said you was all over YouTube and then you went ghost. Bro, I'm getting 50 to 60,000 new subscribers every month right now. Like,
yeah, Dre is killing it on YouTube. I'm the one that's been bullshitting. He been getting on me.
I've been yelling, hey, get back. One thing I always like the way, like, you always have a fresh view on the community. I think the community needs platforms and voices like yours. So that different, and I'm not saying that for myself, bro. I got my own platforms to deal with also, you know what I mean? But between your group and your YouTube, I think that you are a good platform and you got a good solid head on your shoulders for bulls, and you're not just with the fat, lazy fuck shit that a lot of other people was with. And whoever get mad at that, get mad at that with y'all's non-functional, fat, weirdo ass dogs, bro. Like, these dogs are supposed to be functional. I don't care what nobody says. They supposed to be functional. They supposed to be able to do a couple miles and still be okay. Yeah, they might be panting, but they're not overheating and dying. Like,
well, see, and that's kind of my thing. You took some of the best dogs on the planet. We still don't even know all the dogs that went into this breed, but we know you took various masters. We know you took various bulldogs, American Bulldog, Oldie Bulldog, Alapaha. That's how we got the Merle. Then you even slipped some Catahoula in there. Don't want to admit that to get the Merle. And that's a great
Hold on,
dog.
let me put my do not disturb on real quick because, yeah, we're not gonna do that.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
But then you got the Pit Bull. You got the Amstaff, which is, you know, the show watered down version of the Pit Bull. And then you decide to mix all of them together and say, I'm going to create the fattest, most non-functional dog ever. You know what I'm saying?
He big though. But he big. He big.
His color's so pretty. You know what I mean?
Hey, let me tell you this. If you've seen a fat, no, I don't want to say that word. If you've seen a super fat woman, morbidly obese, she weighs 350 pounds, and you see another woman that is curvy, shapely, are you going to go for the big woman because she's big? Or are you going to go for the woman that actually looks good? Which one is going to be appealing to you?
You're going to go for the woman that actually looks good. But
that's just me, though. That's just, I mean, some people got a fat fetish.
Some people do. Some people do, especially when them bills get low and they know the taxes is coming.
Hey, tax season is coming. Hey, you got to go find you a big girl.
Yeah, it's a little cold outside. But it's a matter of, and that's what I want to do is we were kind of going back and forth, and he was like, if they don't straighten it up, these dogs are going to disappear. And I was like, you feel that way because you're stuck in the show ring environment. When you look at this breed, the world, a lot of people still don't know they exist. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And I was able to
find it. I still get pit bull calls every day.
Pit bull,
you got the biggest pit bulls? I'm like, no. See, I think that's one thing I get a flat because my Instagram was at largest pit bulls, but I don't have pit bulls. I'm not fucking retarded, right? I literally wrote the book about the XL American Bully Revolution and how to care. Like, I got books out on the subject. I understand what the fuck I have. But when people see largest pit bulls, it piques their curiosity and it brings them in.
Well, the other thing is they keep calling it that. So that's why, because I've had people ask me, well, why does BGK on this thing he talks about he's got the biggest pit bulls? I'm like, bruh, that's part of the marketing to bring you in. Once you
and then I educate them.
He's going, I'm coming along where there's enough people that know bullies. I'm like, why would he
different now? Yes, you could be thrower bullies, but if you was thrower bullies when I started out, like, you want to know what got eyes onto the breed and people don't realize, A lot of people thought Rock was the biggest pit bull. A lot of people thought Hulk was the biggest pit bull. They thought Liger was the biggest. But we had to get them in the door through the visual and then educate them. Like, you like the look, you like what you're seeing, then you really don't want a pit bull, because they were bigger than the pit bull at 4 months. Like,
there you go.
They're way bigger than the pit bull at 4 months, like that. Pit bulls are big at 80 and 90. That's ginormous, huge, huge.
But see, I remember when it was probably around like 93. I think that's what I want to say. That was my first time seeing what they call bullies, what evolved into the bullies. And I used to hit Venice Beach every Sunday. You know, I was in Cali. It was cracking on Sunday.
Man, I still hit Venice Beach, bro.
There you go. See, and then everybody would was bringing your flyers because you had a party going on, or you was bringing your dog, or you was bringing both. And it would be a lot of celebrities. And I remember one day being there. I think I was in DC, and my boys called me, and they was like, dude, it was these huge pit bulls up here today. You got to see this, da 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 da. And you know, we didn't have the cell phones with the pictures, and we didn't have all that. So they like, I'm like, well, what you mean huge pit bull? They was like, man, they was like 110, 150. I'm like, bro, those weren't pit bulls. I'm running down a list of dog breeds, and they like, nah, they said they was pit bulls, and I'm okay, whatever. Got back to Cali. Probably about a week or two later, I'm up there. Happened to be the same dudes. It was 3 dudes, and each of them had one of these big so-called pit bulls. And I'm like, what is that? You know, because I'm looking at them. I'm like, it ain't Presses. It ain't King Corsos. What is that? And they like, oh, they're XL pit bulls. And all 3 of them said it. So when all 3 of them said it, I'm like, y'all run the game. Like, ain't no thing is no.
You're like, I'm a dog man. What is y'all talking about?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm up there with my Rottweiler. I used to either bring my Rott or I bring my pit. And I'm like, yeah, y'all running game. Ain't no such thing as that. They was like, nah, you know, it's a new breed, XL pit. I'm like, okay, whatever. But then I started seeing them growing and getting more popular and everything. And then about another 5 to 7 years, next thing you know, here comes the bullies, you know, full speed ahead. And so I get it. What you're coming from that period. You got involved in the beginning when they first got going.
Well, let me explain to you that there was no ABKC. Like, right? Like, shout out to Dave Wilson, the homie. What up, Dave?
ABKC would have been what, 2004? And then you had the BRC before ABKC, but that was only a couple of years before, right?
Right. So when I met Roman and them, I should say ICK, so people know who I'm talking about. When I met the founder of Iron Cross Kennels, he gave me, like, I seen the dogs online, and it said Iron Cross Kennels Pit Bulls. I thought I was buying pit bulls. When I got the papers, it was registered with the UKC as Purple Ribbon Pedigree Pit Bulls. So I didn't just think I was getting pit bulls. I thought I was getting like the ultimate pedigree, like Purple Ribbon.
Right.
Like if y'all don't know what Purple Ribbon means, that means you have 7 generations of documented ancestry with that registry, right?
That registry. That's what people have to understand. Purple Ribbon, a lot of people, I always suggest to people, if you got American bullies that are being registered by pit bulls, go ahead and have them registered as bullies. Now, especially once you get going, you can leave your original foundation, but go ahead and have the rest of them registered as bullies.
Facts.
Nothing wrong with you losing that purple ribbon aspect to it. All that means is with that registry, is it 5 or 7 generations?
7.
7? Okay. So
7.
All it means is with that registry, you've had 7 generations. It's just that registry. It don't mean you won shows. It don't mean anything. They're just saying, you know what? Thanks.
It sounds so good though, don't it? When people hear
purple
they don't
ribbon,
know.
Yeah,
purple
like
ribbon, man. This is purple
you know
ribbon. This is upper echelon, creme de la creme. You know
exactly.
But when I got with Roman and he with the founder of ICK, and he told me that these were big pit bulls, but he kind of gave me the game a little bit. I'm like, man, so you know, I understand dogs to a certain extent at that point. So I'm like, so you telling me these are pure pit bulls looking like this? He was like, well, I didn't mix anything into them, you know, so the papers I got is what I'm getting, you know.
I didn't do any mixing.
Right. And he wasn't lying, though. Like, at that point, he did end up mixing later on, but at that point, he hadn't mixed shit in, right? So when that was my foundation of understanding, so I began to understand, okay, I'm starting off with the purple ribbon pedigree pit bull. So for years, and when I got Rock, now I'm just be all the way real. When I got Rock and I seen Rock, I seen the massive influence immediately. I'm like, somebody done mix some shit in here, bro. You know what I mean? Like somebody they cooked it up. But then I also knew what I wanted to produce. A lot of people probably don't notice that Rock did not have my ideal look. I like the bone and structure and temperament, right? I like the coat, but I felt like he had a little bit too much loose skin and I wanted to tighten him up. And luckily, I knew how to breed. I knew how to take him to females that were offset and bring in the traits that he didn't have. Like, that's what breeding is supposed to be. You're supposed to have one dog that has a set of character traits you like, another one that has a set of character traits you like. You got to recognize the flaws in each dog. If you're kennel blind and you think you got the perfect dog, you're a fucking idiot. Only a clown knows everything, right? So when I recognized that, then I knew how to breed accordingly. So a lot of people, oh, he got Mastiff in him. I don't know where it is. He probably does have something back in the day. I've never mixed in any breed ever, not once, like Roman told me.
There you go.
Right? I never did that, but I did recognize that, okay, I see the influence, so I need to breed to a very clean female that's tightly bred, not scatterbred, because if you scatterbreed, also, another thing I watched from Rock was his brothers. His brothers produced dogs that look like melting puddles. Literally.
So he was unique in his litter then?
Nah, he was unique in his litter, but I think he could have produced the same shit bred the wrong way. You understand what I'm trying to say? I think the way that they bred, they were genetically close enough to him that if they took the route I went, they should have been producing things that were compatible with what I was producing, and I should have had more competition out of his litter mates. But they didn't know what they were doing as far as breeding. They would breed, and then it would be just like, oh, hell no, bro. Like, hell no.
That was an era where it was going big. Anything big, they was breeding to it. Whereas
he already
you were being more
big.
Specific.
Yeah, he's gonna throw big.
You
no
were being more
what.
specific in the overall look.
Right, and that's when he started producing offspring that were better than him, cleaner than him, more structurally sound, had no droopy skin, tight skin, same temperament, and that to me was the magic of Rock. And a lot of people, oh, he's a super producer. Yeah, he is, but it really matters what you take them to. It absolutely matters what you take them to, right? Like the female always plays a role in the breeding. We can never downplay it, and like studs get celebrated more than females for whatever reason, probably because they're just more statuesque. They stand out more. They're promoted a lot heavier. You don't see many people promoting their females the way a stud owner that has a popular stud will promote his stud. So if you think about popular dogs and you start going down the line, it's gonna be hard to name the females, but you can name the males like this. But them females are just as important, if not more so.
They're more important. Yeah. That's what I tell everybody. They're more important. If you know the direction, if you're breeding two dogs and you know the direction that you plan on going, you not only need to know to pick the best pup, but you got to remember you want those traits to carry into that pup, and then from that pup into his or her offspring. So sometimes to get what you need, you may have to take the female rather than the male. So I always say the female is the most valuable thing in your kennel. They don't get celebrated once you get to Facebook, but it is the most valuable thing in your kennel.
Thanks, Julio. Julio, my bad. He said Cujo was clean, and that comes back to what we're talking about. The female. I bought and ended up with 2 foundation females. I bought Rock as a young adult, and that's another reason why I'm doing it too. Is I never seen Rock as a puppy, bro. I seen Rock after Roman went to Canada and was like, you know what, this big ass male out there is he's the biggest dog I've seen that's a pit bull, which we all know he's not a pit bull, he's a bully, right? But he was calling it a pit bull at the time. Like, he's the biggest I ever seen. So that when I purchased him and he got here, he was already damn near 150 pounds. I never got to
see him. So how old was Rock when you got him then?
Like 14 months, something like that.
So he's fairly young, but he was older. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting that 7-8 week old puppy stage you breed, bro. You know what it's like to develop a dog and bond with that dog. I mean, we had a crazy bond for him being as old as he was, but it's not the same as growing up with a dog from day one, caring for that dog from day one, and then letting them develop into whatever they're going to become, you know?
Exactly. So once you got the Rock, you started getting your breeding, everything got successful. You are now one of the most popular people in this American bully game.
He was one of the most popular dogs. I was always
one of the most popular dogs.
I was always the bad guy, though. I won't say I was a popular people. I'm not a people person. I don't like people. I legitimately don't like people. Like, I'm not saying that I don't like people. I don't trust people.
But your kennel is one of the most popular kennels in this
Yeah,
American bully
yeah.
game.
I'm not a
And
people person. I don't like
in
to
dogs in
meet a bunch of
general.
people, bro.
So when you, how did you come to you getting your breedings? Where are you right now with your breedings that made you say, okay, cloning Rock would be a great idea right now?
You know what it is? I went way down the Trimerol lane, and I really like it as far as the production and the quality of my dogs. Go through my Instagram, go through my site. Like I got the quality of the dogs that I produce is still exactly where I want it to be. I'm not doing
Okay.
subpar breedings, I'm not doing subpar quality, but I haven't seen nobody throwing the type of blues that I was able to throw with Rock, right? And
Got you.
that's where I want it. Right now, when I breed them, when I bring them back and I'm breeding them, I'm not selling no first picks, bro. I'm doing it to create a bloodline that's gonna be straight blue while I do it all off of Rock first picks. That's literally why I'm doing it, bro. It's not even a money
Got
thing
you.
for me. If I don't make no money off of this, that's cool, bro. I'm good anyway. You know what I mean? Do I think I will? More than likely so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not really worried about that. This is a risk I'm willing to take. It's 50 bands. You know, money come, money goes. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go. No, but you got to invest in yourself, especially when you have an idea. Because, from my understanding, there's only one other person that's done it. So, if you take it and then you run with it, now, what are you expecting to? So, with that being said, what are you expecting? And then we're gonna get into the actual process of the cloning. But what are you expecting to? If you take the dog, because we've seen you post on Facebook, we see the pups. They're good looking. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
What is it you're expecting to add to that by bringing Rock back? Because of course you're kind of
I know
bringing
how
him
to
back
breed,
into
bro.
the
I know how
blood.
to breed. I know this is the thing I know for sure. Okay, let me take a step back. I've been really watching the horses. The
There you
place I'm
go.
using primarily does not clone dogs. They do that as a side, like that's extra. Their
Yeah,
real money is in cloning horses. And what's happening in the horse industry right now is they're cloning champions and then able to breed them with current champions, breedings that would have never happened without technology being involved is now happening. And what's happening is they're dominating and winning to the point where they're trying to create rules against it because they said it's not
against
fair.
cloning.
Yeah, they're
Well,
saying
see,
it's
it's funny. What's funny you bring that up. So, and this kind of goes back to the females. Secretariat. They ended up realizing the Secretariat had an enlarged lung, which enabled him to intake more air and oxygen than the most of the horses he raced against. So once he got to his speed, he could maintain that speed, whereas other horses would start slowing down. So they kept breeding Secretariat to different females, taking the male, because that's what seems makes sense, taking the male, but those males were never near as good. It wasn't until they bred him to a female, took that, then they took a female from that litter. And that gets back into the male chromosome and how that works. That female carried his genetics. Her only problem is she was a female. She didn't have the size and the mass and the muscle and the bone. So
got it.
once they then bred her to a male, they duplicated Secretariat. So that's when they started realizing, okay, it's the female. When we want this male, we got to go to the right female, then get a female off of that because his genetics going into the male, a lot of it is just focused on making it a male, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily pushing the actual genetics. And so that's where you get that the black hole theory in breeding. That all came from Secretariat and them trying to remake him. Sure enough, they created a female. She had the enlarged heart, bred her to a male,
You mean
then
lung,
got
enlarged lung?
the enlarged lung,
Yeah.
bred her into a male. And because most of the female's genetics is going to go into the male, they got that male. And sure enough, he had the enlarged lung. They started winning again. So, and was duplicating it. So that's funny you bring that up. That the horses is where a lot of our studies come from.
It is. It is. And those honestly, a lot of people don't know. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm sure a lot of people do know. Horses are actually more valuable. Like their semen, their stock. I mean, horses go for six figures. Like there's I mean, the
Yeah,
right horses, not just average horses, but when we're talking about top quality champion stock, you know what I mean? So Once they started cloning and winning to the point where there was just they're still right now currently trying to create laws. There are none. They're trying to create laws because they're feeling like this is unfair. I'm racing a champion bred to a champion that died how long ago, and he's winning easily.
Right.
You know, so that's one of the things that made me feel like, okay, there is a competitive edge that is given to that. And I know how to breed this particular set of genetics very, very well. Right? I know exactly what he clicks with. I know how to run this blood. So to go back and do it again, it's like if you had it when you coming through high school, like, man, if I could do this again, man, imagine if right now you had the chance to go play whatever sport you played in high school with the knowledge you have right now. It's going to be a different element. Like it's not even going to be fair on certain levels. You know what I mean? And that's
it's like you starting all over, but you starting over from something you've already been through. You already came from.
Tried, time tested, you know what it does. You've seen the results time, you know exactly what it does. You know what I mean? So that to me is it. I don't expect to get another. I'm not looking to replace my best friend, right? My best friend is RIP, bro. This is going to be something different, and I understand that. You know, like I'm walking in with open eyes. So I'm documenting everything. I've already initiated the process. This is not something I'm going to do. This is something I'm currently in the process of doing. The stem cells are already with them. There's already been, I don't want to say it's already happening right now. Literally. You know what I mean?
So now where is it that they're getting stem cells from? Like how does that process
They take tissue. They take tissue. I think they took it from his neck. But they take tissue. I didn't want to watch them cut into my dog. They take the tissue samples because it was a time of grief for me. Like some people do this as a planned event, and they take their live animal into the cloning center, and then they get the cells, and then they go home and have fun with their animal that they're going to clone later. That wasn't it for me, so I didn't really want to watch that part of the process. It felt kind of morbid in real time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you. So then they take the tissue.
They took 12 tissue samples, 12 stem cell tissue samples.
So now are they taking those just so that they have a variety of the best one? Or
just in case anything happens, and if they have, sometimes it don't work the first, second, or third time. Sometimes you have to do the process and repeat the process until they get that perfect clone. And if you only had 2, guess what? You blew it.
Got you. So they take that. Now, here's where I'm a little confused. Are they
shout out that dude?
Are they creating an embryo somewhere and then putting that embryo?
Okay, good. Yeah. So the complete genetic copy of Rock is inside of the genetic copy of his entire DNA is inside of those stem cells. They extract that. And they take an egg and extract all the membrane, all the nucleus out of that egg. And they take the nucleus that represents Rock out of those stem cells, and they place that inside that egg. That egg goes into the dog, the maternal mother, well, not even maternal mother, to the mother, the surrogate mother. That's what I'm looking for.
There we go.
That's going to carry the egg, right? Now, that surrogate, this is the weird part, does not need to be a bully. Just needs to be alive.
Ain't that weird? I was going to ask you next. So she's just a vessel.
She's just a vessel. It's most likely not going to be a bully. They said they use a lot of, like, for Rock, because he's so big. I don't want to say exactly what they use. I'm going to say some things, but they use another large breed dog that is not a bully. But it doesn't matter. I know some people are going to be like, oh, you mixing blood. No, if you understand the science of it, I'm not mixing blood, and you can do your research. It's merely a surrogate. It's like if Beyonce and Jay-Z used a surrogate, that doesn't mean that that's her baby. She was just the person that gave birth to their baby.
They're going through the process, but they're basically an empty vessel. When it comes to genetics, they are an empty vessel carrying that.
None of their DNA comes through. DNA comes through.
Got you. So then,
but they got to know the size, because you can't put it into a Chihuahua.
There you go. Exactly.
It's going to be a large breed dog. You know what I mean? You'll kill it.
There you go. Okay, so the surrogate is carrying the pup. Now it's only going to be one pup, right?
Not necessarily. It could be 2. They're going to try multiple, and then we'll see what comes out of it. It could be 2, it could be 3. We don't know. It's most likely they guarantee you 1, but that doesn't mean that it's only going to be 1.
Got you. So okay, so you're definitely not going to have 12.
No,
but they're going to do.
It's not a litter.
They're just in case something goes wrong. They're going to make sure they've done several of these.
They like to do 2 or 3 at a time.
Okay, and then she's going to be not impregnated, but she's going to be carrying each of those just in case there's any issues or whatever. So then all of a sudden, bam, time she's ready to give birth. She kicks out the 1, 2, 3 pups. Let's say it's 2. Are you taking both? Or are you
if it's 2, I'm gonna keep both.
Okay. So then you get both, and then from there, what would you say? I think I have an idea. I think most people look at it because even my son heard you and I talking about it, and I was explaining to him that you did it with Cardi, you wouldn't necessarily get Cardi Bull's mentality. I was like, because you got to remember, she was raised with a band dog and a Jack Russell. She was raised with 2 100% working dogs. She carried a lot of their mannerisms, learned a lot from them. If she didn't have them, she'd be somewhat of a different dog. She got the heart to be with them, but so the environment is going to be a lot of the difference in you dealing with these new pups. What is it that you're looking for as far as like, okay, this is me back then with The Rock. This is me now with The Rock. What is it that you're kind of plotting and planning and figuring?
I'm just going to make sure that he's really, really close to me, and that I really have him. Like we're not talking about backyard close to me. I'm talking about next to you, close to you, so that you can bond and help mold. Like what you're talking about right now is an old scientific study that goes way back further than just cloning. What you're talking about is called nature versus nurture.
Versus nurture. There you
right?
Go.
And that's been around for many, many moons. You know what I mean? Does the environment shape who you are, or is it nature, your genetics that shape who you are, or is it a combination, which I definitely think is a combination of both.
Definitely.
That imprints you on who you are. Like you said, Cardi grew up around a Jack, and what was the other breed she was around?
She's a band dog.
Band dog. So she's around high drive dogs, prey drive dogs, cocky, confident dogs. They're going to emulate that. They're going to learn more from them than from you. That's just how that works.
Their personalities are too strong. They definitely going to.
It's imprinting. It's called imprinting, right? And they're going to imprint on that dog. So I want to make sure that I have him super socialized from day one. I want to make sure that I have him around everybody he needs to be around, so that he can have that social bond from day one. And I also want to make sure that I provide him, like I have a dog supplement and stuff like that. So I'm going to have him, no question, reach his full max potential. Because I guarantee you his first owner, although was taking great care of him and did a good job, not to knock him on any level, but he's not going to put into him what I did. So I think I could actually make a better version by the knowledge I have now. I can do something I can do a bigger, better version. I'm 99% sure. And I've asked them, have they seen that with the horses? And they said yes.
Because based off the environment, the new environment.
There's an investment. It's a different level of investment, so they can pour a different level of nurturing and care and nutrients and into that, developing that animal. And that animal ends up to be better in better physical condition because they're being cared for during those key developmental stages on a different level, you know? And I think that makes a difference.
There you go. So once you'll end up having the dog. Where, kind of what females, or are you
already got them? There you go. Come on, man. Hey, this is like, hey, when you building a house, you go ahead and pick out the furnishings, the what kind of foundation, what the 3D mock-up model is gonna look like, and all that. Right? I already got them. I don't have to go get them. Yeah, I'm sitting on that already.
Okay. Yeah, that okay. So now here's my next question.
And I'm not studying them because I done got asked a lot already, bro. Like, no, I'm not studying them. I don't care what you.
In-house.
Yeah, I'm not studying them. You got to buy a pup. Like, that's it.
So here's my next question. When I looked at it, and I was trying to look for cons, like, you know, the negatives of doing this. Really didn't find anything. Those things that did pop up were at such a low percentage. I'm talking like less than 1% of issues, because I want to say it's been about 1,500 dogs, well, actually 6,000 dogs, I think, have been cloned. I want to say it was 1,000 different breeds. I could have those numbers wrong. The only issue, highest issue came up, that was only, I think it was 4%. I forget exactly what it's called, but they tended to have larger muscles. And I forget exactly what the name was. It started with an H, something muscular, whatever.
I've seen that in even outside of cloning. You ever seen those bulls that had that? They
There
looked
you
like they
go.
were double
Yes.
muscled. Yeah,
Yes.
that looks crazy.
And but these weren't, the dogs were still healthy, still functional, just their muscles just happened to be a little larger than anybody else in their genetic pedigree.
And if that's a fault, then I'll take it, you know.
There, well, see, there you go. So that, and that's what I mean, that's something that kind of comes along with, you figure with inbreeding, you tend to get a more massive, larger muscle, but they just tend to be a little shorter, but stockier. You know what I mean? So in this case, and that's where a lot of these bullies that we see come from, their traits are coming from, is from inbreeding. The bulldog itself, those traits come from inbreeding, and then you're just locking them in and keeping it. So even in this situation, if he becomes one of those 4%, you're still looking at, like I said, they still had no issues with it. Have you noticed, one thing I didn't get to look into, have you, in looking into it, let's say 3, 4, 5 generations from the actual clone, have you noticed there any issues? Because I couldn't see.
So far, I've done my research, and I really followed up with a couple of the horse breeders that have been involved with it. They were kind enough to connect me with them as like a reference, because when I'm spending $50,000 with you, you know,
they got to do a little extra footwork for you.
Yeah, I don't want to act like don't let me try to sound like I'm rich or something, flexing on y'all, because I'm not. $50,000 is a lot of money to me, like it is a lot of money to anybody else. Now I have $50,000 to invest. I don't have $50,000 to waste. There's a difference. You know what I mean? Big difference.
I like how you said that. There you go.
So when I started talking to them, they were, you know how just like somebody might say, hey, you know what? I like Thor Bullies. I like Cardi. I like what you've been producing. But can I talk to a couple of your clients and see? I did that. Just
did the same thing. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they put me in contact with them, and they were saying it was the best investment they ever made. Like, period. Like this has been rekindling. Like we've won 4 more championships that we wouldn't have won without this process. Right.
There you go. Okay.
Like they're poised to keep winning them too, because they're like, I'm going to do it again. Like, I'm not stopping now.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're committed to it now. Yeah. So where are you at right now?
One second. The guy told me, and this I found was crazy. He said, honestly, if I were you, I would have one version of him with me until I quit. Do you understand what he's saying? He's saying he's never going to let his champion horse right now that's winning for him ever die. Every time that he's getting close, he's gonna
clone him
because
he's keep it going.
Man, they're making like $800,000 a year off of that one horse. Why would he let it go ever?
Right. You know I mean? No, that makes sense.
So I got to spend another $50,000 and make another $800,000.
Right. You gonna definitely do it, and you win it. Yeah, it's proven. It's already proven that it's doing what it's supposed to. So where are you at right now in this phase? And then give us kind of, I know you plan on documenting, so I don't want you to give a bunch of details.
Yeah, what I will say is that the stem cells are implanted, and I'm waiting, and that's it. That's all I want to say on that. Not being funny, but this I will say this. When you said the only problem that you've seen in the process has been the muscles, the only problem I've seen in the process is sometimes they have to do it multiple times until they get that perfect, healthy clone.
Okay.
So you could get it in the first time in 2 months, or some people said it took them a year to get it right. That is the biggest.
Okay, so what? Because I did notice that, but the article I was reading, it kind of just brushed past that. Where I knew that there was an issue with the process, not necessarily with once the process is completed.
That's not a good selling point.
Right. So if they keep having to do it, which is why you gave them 12 stem cells, I'm assuming.
No, I didn't give them all 12. I didn't give them all 12.
You didn't? Okay.
No,
but they still got that to turn to.
Yeah, I gave them enough. I don't want to say how many I gave them. I still got a decent amount on ice, but I gave them enough that they should be able to get it done with the amount that they have. I'm never going to have all my eggs in one basket like that, bro.
So when you say, okay, sometimes they have to get it right, what does getting it wrong mean? What does
maybe this pup was born with a deformity, and maybe this pup didn't the embryo didn't complete itself all the way. Maybe there was a slight abnormality, like something that
so the same thing that we can have with same thing that we can have with 12 pups. They're trying to avoid to get you that one pup, the keeper.
Right.
Got you.
And nobody's going to accept a slight abnormality when they're spending $50,000.
There you go. Yeah, because everything I saw once they were produced, everything that I read, like I saw a cleft palate come in, that was less than 1%. Everything was extremely low percentages. Now, here's what
I think most of it is getting it to tape. Sorry to cut you off. I think most of it's getting it to actually fully form. I think that's the biggest hurdle. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
not actually being born. The birth rate with abnormalities is actually extremely low. It's a very low percentage. But the amount of times that they have to
do it to get that healthy embryo.
Yeah, to re-impregnate that surrogate and get it to tape. That's where you will find that issue more than being born with a cleft palate or 3 legs or whatever weird. Like, think about how many times that's happened to you as a breeder. I guarantee you it's not much. You mostly produce healthy dogs, right? So
exactly. Well, see, and that's why when I was looking at the percentages, I'm seeing, like, because it's showing the name of the problem, cleft palate, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Dre gonna be mad. I gotta ask him about it. But then,
hey man, you know what? Let me be honest with you, bro. Like, I really fuck with you, bro. Like, I really like you, bro. So I know that whatever you asking me is coming from a genuine place. I don't give a fuck. You can ask me anything, bro. I really don't.
But care. You know, here's the thing, though. It's a non-factor. Everything was less than 1%. The only thing that was more than 1% was 4%, which is extremely low, and that was the muscle, the extra muscle. I forget what it was actually called. Hypo something muscular. But
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the technical name, so I'm not gonna try it. But I know exactly what you're referencing, though.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a negative. It wasn't like the doubled up muscle that you see with the bulls and stuff. It wasn't like that. It's just that they are noticing that, okay, for whatever reasons, these pups are more muscular than everybody in their pedigree. And this, so that was only, and like I said, that was only 4%. Here's what I like to ask you, and then we can just kind of freestyle it before we get off here.
Right, and I also, if anybody that's watching had a comment or question, we could run that.
Anybody with any questions, definitely present them, and we'll get into those also. Here's my one last question. I'm big when it comes to dogs on things being as natural as possible. I look at anything that is unnatural causes a cancer in whatever's going on around it. Even men, as humans, we are a part of the earth, but we are the only part of the earth that lives unnaturally. And due to that, we have kind of become a cancer on the planet.
Wow, that's deep.
When I look at, we do a C-section with a female dog. In my mind, you can get away with it a couple times, but I don't want that to be a part of my program. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, let me pause you just for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I don't think you should always do C-sections, man. First of all, you end up building up scar tissue on the uterus because you're cutting it open every time. The uterus is actually a muscle. It's called the uterine muscle, right? And that muscle, that's why around their third litter is the best, because that uterus is being developed every time it's contracting as it goes. So I like to do natural litters. I know some people are money hungry. Like, I got to cut every puppy out of her because I don't care. I don't want, bro, like, I think natural is super, super key. You don't got to do it every time. If you know that this female, you do your x-rays and they like, I don't know if she's gonna be able to have it naturally because they look a little larger than we anticipated, or it's a smaller litter, which means you have larger pups and she might get, okay, that's natural. But if you can do it naturally, I absolutely recommend that.
The other thing is don't underestimate your females and don't underestimate what you can go to the vet and look at before the birth takes place. When I first got into bully, because I came from dogs that were always pretty much the males and females were pretty much right around the same size. It was never an issue. When I got into bullies, that's when I started noticing the discrepancies. So I was kind of paranoid. When we had King, King was about 163 pounds. Cardi Bull was around 103, 105 pounds. So I'm like, okay, I'm basically breeding a Great Dane to a pit bull. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this huge difference. You know what I mean? But I went ahead. I did the C-section. Didn't like that the fact that the doctor wasn't open on weekends. The vet wasn't open on weekends. So they put you in this dilemma. Okay, we could wait till Monday, but that might be too late. Or you could do it Friday. That might be a little early. We'll just wait till late in the day. So we ended up doing that. The results were cool. I'm cool with it. A couple puppies to me looked slightly underdeveloped compared to the
What day?
pups.
What day did you do it at?
Okay, I want to say Saturday would have been day 62, I think.
Oh, that's not early, bro.
And no, Sunday would have been day 62, I think, either Sunday or Monday. So I want to say I had it calculated in my head like we're doing the birth, the C-section about 2 days early, 2 or 3 days early. That was like, how old are you, Aziz? That was 3 years ago. So I'm having a hard, but it was like right around there. Pups were fine.
I get it. I'm not gonna remember 3 years ago either.
Yeah, and so I don't really remember. I'm basically.
No, I get it. You ain't soon as you said 3 years
you know
ago. Ain't nobody
saying?
remember no 3 years ago, bro.
Yeah, I remember the emotions behind it, but I don't remember the actual numbers. But anyway, it was a successful litter. But then we had now Aziz is at his heaviest, he'll hit about 150, 153. I don't think he's ever hit 155. And I keep him right around 145, 147. He just was bred to Zara. Those pups are now just about a year old. Zara is a more lean built dog. She's probably about, give her 80 pounds. Did a natural breeding, did a natural birth, no issues. Those pups, by the time they were 6 months old, some of them were bigger than their mama.
Wow.
By the time they, you know what I mean? Especially the males. By the time they hit 8 months old, they were just about all bigger than her, except for the one female that I kept because she's just nuts. She's crazy. I love her. I don't think I'll ever breed her, but she's nuts. I'm thinking about breeding her because she does have the perfect muzzle. So I just got to figure out the right male here to go to, and I think she's probably gonna go to T'Challa because I want to match that muzzle. But
right.
I'm not expecting to get the size of her brothers and her two sisters. You know what I'm saying? But I'm cool with that. I just want to lock in those traits, and I can get the size back going, no problem, because we'll have that going on the sidelines anyway. But what people do have to remember is these dogs can do a lot more. Now, what I did do is I took her to the vet, and I had them look at her birth canal compared to the size of the pups. And the vet was like, she's slim. She's going to be fine, though, giving birth to these pups. So I will say to people, kind of like Dre was saying earlier, try to aim at getting dogs at max so you don't have to worry about anything. But if that comes into your head, always remember you can go to your vet and they will look at the birth canal compared to the shoulders. And that's the problem. It's always the shoulders. It's never the hips, never the ribs. It's the shoulders and the head. They can look at that and give you an idea of whether you should do a C-section. But there are, and don't get caught up, like you were saying, don't get caught up in that whole, I need every pup. Learn that it's okay to learn off of the experiences you go through when it comes to these dogs.
But, you know what? Let me say something. I'll say it anyway. Every pup ain't supposed to make it. I'm old
There
school.
you go.
I'm old school. Some dogs are supposed to be called, bro. Some
There you
dogs are
go.
supposed to fucking die, bro. Like that's a part of the business. When I see I've seen some breeders save dogs and like, oh, they're missing two legs and one eye, but they're loved. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you,
Save
bro?
that dog that they don't plan on keeping.
Right. Like, what is you talk, bro? Like that's part of breeding. And I understand that the Karens are gonna come. Like, you're not supposed to kill puppies. I'm not advertising or advocating for killing puppies. I am a dog lover to the core, bro. Like, believe me. But I understand that even the mom knows. Like, if you have a mom that drops a litter, sometimes you will notice her nudging a pup away from her. She keeps pushing it away. She knows internally what you can't see. I've never been able to take that pup to a vet, and all of a sudden, miraculously, the vet will tell me like she's rejecting the pup. Then the odds are there's some internal underdevelopment. There's something that we can't see that she can
And the
sense.
vet, yeah, there you go. The vet is not going to be able to tell you what it is. They can do all the x-rays they want, blood tests, all that. They're not going to be able to tell you what it is that mother is seeing in that pup or sensing in that pup. But you want to know who will tell you? Sell that pup to somebody. Wait 2-3 years and watch the complaints you get or the issues
Right.
that person who bought that pup from you has to deal with now. And that's the chance and that's why, again, going back to where we were, I just look at, we do things unnatural. We breed not necessarily cancer, but we bring cancerous situations into it. Now, again, I looked into it. I couldn't find any issues. Have you heard of anything generations down? Is that been a concern of
Honestly, I was
yours?
kind of thinking. I think Pet Cemetery, right? You know how they bring them back. You
They
know how they
start
bring.
coming at you.
I was thinking about that, but no, man. There's been no temperament issues. They say it's just a genetic copy of your animal. The only issues they had is somebody expected, well, Spidey was just like this, and I love Spidey so much because every time I went to the couch, he would go by my knee. Like, it might not do the exact same things as your last dog did, right? It might have a different mentality. That might be shaped by the environment.
You're not doing the exact same things that your last dog did. People don't realize those little patterns that we have that trigger dogs to do certain things. Okay, but now the mentality factor, the temperament factor. I always break temperament down and just nothing but a combination of different drives, and each of those drives have different thresholds within them. But because it is so genetic, that should be the same, no different than color. You know what I mean? That should be the same. So
It
really, it
should
just
be. The environment can influence that, though.
there
You
you go.
know.
It comes down to that environment. There you go. Are there anything? I might have asked you this a little earlier, and I think you kind of intentionally passed it. But I'm gonna ask it again just in case I didn't ask you it earlier.
All right.
I know I did. Are there anything that you plan on? Any specifics you could throw at us that it's
Just
like,
the way I
okay,
develop it, the way I nurture and develop him, the way that he's catered to growing up, the way that I socially integrate him into his surroundings and into like the general public. I'm gonna do that very, very early and often. The fact that I'm gonna put him through training with a professional trainer, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't do that with the first one. I did that way later on, and just on some emotional support. I'm talking about all the way up from basic obedience, on and off leash, like the whole
you're
nine.
all into it.
From day one, I want to have them fully develop on that level and fully socially integrated, fully around family at all times. Every meal is going to be like supplemented. I'm talking about raw from 7 to 8 weeks, which is when you get them, right? So I'm really going to go above and beyond, the same way like you invest into something, you're going to pour into that. You're not going to treat that like the average dog. So if anything, that would be what I would do differently this time and this go round. The selective breedings, keeping the first picks, and basing a lot of what I do, especially my blues, around that. So that's my plans, bro.
Okay. All right, for sure. If anybody has any questions, and we are going to be watching this now, Dre's going to be documented, so you can all go to Big Gemini Kennels, and He'll be, I'm sure, posting it on there. So make sure you subscribe to that so that you're watching and can keep up with it. We will also be following Dre on this journey, making sure he don't come out with no zombies or nothing like that. No
Zombie dog.
Frankensteins, exactly.
Pet
You know what I
cemetery
mean?
dog.
Exactly. So we will also be keeping up with that. So this isn't ending here. We're gonna stay on top of that.
No, there's going to be an entire YouTube series, and it might be bigger than that because I have a good friend that is in the film industry that has showed a lot of interest, and I actually have a Zoom with them tomorrow at noon. That they really want to document the process. The only question is if I'm going to do it because I'm not going to allow somebody to own the rights to the content, right? So that's where we're going back and forth. But I am, whether it's through them or through me, there will be a professional camera crew. I ain't gonna spend 50 bands and then shoot it with an iPhone. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
So there will be a professional camera crew shooting this entire event, whether it's gonna be on YouTube or if he's serious about it and we go through with the Netflix thing that he's talking about. I don't know. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know how that's gonna play. I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but we do have that conversation going on right now.
For sure. Now, I see Eric Maxwell said, is there anything you would try to change from the original Rock?
Nah, man. Honestly, no. Like his temperament, his personality, the way he was so balanced that I could take him around in the public. We went to, speaking of Venice Beach earlier, we went all through Venice Beach, documented that. There's a ton of video footage just up and down Venice Beach. We was politicians meeting and kissing babies and all that. But at the same time, if I went left, this is the part of Rock that nobody really seen. If you ever watch my videos, there's always a big can of beer mace in my pocket because he would go left if I did. He wasn't just everybody, oh, he's so nice. I guarantee if I go left, he's going left. Like if I act like there was a threat, he was a cocky, confident. I think that's why he was so good in public. He was real confident to the point where he didn't need to overcompensate. Like if it's up, it's up. And if everybody, you cool, I'm cool. Like that knew was his energies.
And I feel him on that because it's like I can relax because if something does go wrong, I know I can handle that. And that's the kind of mentality he had. That's the mentality he has. And that's what you're looking for. That's what we're looking for as men. But you're definitely looking for that in your dog. You know what I mean? When you bring in, especially a dog you bring into public. You know, so that's dope. Let me see. Anybody else got any questions? I remember Julio said I remember. See, I remember you from when it was World Star. Was it YouTube?
That was the first time. That was the first time we really went up. And I didn't even think it was gonna go that way. I literally didn't. I put that on my YouTube, and it started to go crazy on my YouTube. And right when it hit 500,000 on my YouTube, then I got a bunch of calls like, "Hey man, they posted you on World Star's Animal Clip of the Week," and that was like a launching point. And I think that between him and then Hawk and then other dogs that people are very critical of, they put eyes on the breed that the breed just wouldn't have had those kind of eyes. The breed was going to go where it's going to go, but there was not mainstream media watching us in to the tune where they are now. Like, and that's a gift and a curse. But if you want an emerging breed to become mainstream, you have to infiltrate mainstream media one way or another. Without mainstream media, you're going to be a subsector of dogs that's kind of known, but never really fully, it doesn't reach its full potential. Okay. So like when a lot of people give Marlon the pushback they give Marlon, I would say like I think he's done way more positive for the breed than most people. And they can say whatever they want, get mad at me, whatever. Hawk's not a pit bull. I know Hawk's not a pit bull. He's an American bully. You know what I mean? Hawk's not the biggest pit bull. I know he's not the biggest. I'm not retarded. But I'm also saying that by him doing that, it put a different type of family member that's not into pit bulls or anything else. That was just like, wow, I can't believe, oh, look at that with the kids. Like they couldn't believe that.
There you go.
And it opened up eyes
people
for a lot of people.
Is when he came out with the whole showing them with the kids in public, everything. People can say whatever they want about, you know, the biggest pit bull. That's fine. But when it's all said and done, I think what cracks me up is the people who want to compete with the Hulk, not realizing he's like, my dog's bigger. I want to stack him next to the Hulk. Marlon's not bringing his 10-year-old dog. He might be older than 10.
You might be.
He's not. Yeah, he's not bringing his 10-year-old dog to the next bully show to stack a right. It's not happening. So why are you even bringing it up anymore? Move on. But I think my thing with Marlon is what he did do, and bully breeder, a lot of bully breeders don't like to admit it, is he put these large dogs in the site on American, Good Morning America, all these different shows. And what it caused people to do was desire large dogs. And it caused them to desire large pit bulls. Some of those people didn't care if they were large. So guess what? They were satisfied with just getting a pit bull. Other people didn't want necessarily the large pit bull or the American bully. They may have gotten a bull mastiff or something else. It opened people's eyes to big doesn't mean it's going to kill me. And that's what I think a lot. Even your video on World Star, you were walking in a liquor store. Mm-hmm. Big didn't mean he's going to knock down all the beer bottles off of the aisles and everything. He was under control. And I think videos like that, people don't realize how much that does for your business and the dog that you're breeding 5-10 years later, because now there's people who have an open mind to that. They realize, okay, you know what? I don't have to get a Chihuahua. If I spend a little between watching the Hulk in the park and the Rock on World Star in the liquor store with Andre and Cesar Millan, I can be a part of my dog's life and be an influence on it. And I don't have to just get a Chihuahua that I don't have to worry anything about.
I mean, that's a fact. That's a fact. I do want to say shout out to Jeff Harrison of Titan Bullies. He was actually the first to go ahead and do a clone. He cloned his dog Sinister, and I asked him about the process, and I asked him how he felt about the process, and he felt like he got a better dog than Sinister than he started with. So shout out to Jeff.
There you go. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. Oh, hold on. Nope. It looks like we don't have any more questions. Any comments that come in here later, I will respond to them. If I don't have a response, I will. Andre also has the ability to tap back in here. He can, jump in on any comments we see. I will be back. First off, Andre, let them know who you are and where they can get a hold of you.
I appreciate you, bro. I'm Andre at Big Gemini Kennels. You can check us out at BigGeminiKennels.com. Our Instagram is @LargestPitBulls. And our YouTube is where I put a lot of content up, and that's Big Gemini Kennels there on YouTube. And that's where the whole series about Clone and Rock is going to be. I literally haven't built my YouTube channel for the last couple of years just for this moment, because I want to have a big audience. When I did that on YouTube is where I'm going to do 90% of all the documentation as far as it goes right now. Unless that changes with the meeting tomorrow, that's where it's going to be. Can you hear me, bro? You cut out for a second. You good? You good, bro?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. There we go. My phone died right in the middle of that.
No, we good already.
Yeah. So I had to jump on the one on the computer. Look at me froze up there in the corner.
No, it's the just getting back jitters, man.
Anyway,
you just getting back into it. That's all.
Okay. So we about to get out of here, y'all, because I'm hearing stuff from two different directions. I don't know what that is. We will be back on Tuesday. Dog Talk Tuesdays is coming back. I will go ahead and it will probably be at the same time, 6 o'clock. I'll be presenting the topics. Also, make sure if you have questions, things like that, join the Giant XL American Bully Breed Group. And we're back, y'all. Thanks for joining in to everybody.
One love, bro.